Hello, Blackhawks Nation. Welcome to the Blackhawks Daily, your favorite recap of the daily buzz about your Chicago Blackhawks. I'm your host, PJ. Thanks for tuning in on this very slow and dry off season. We've been talking about that. There ain't nothing going on these days. But we're just trying to keep Hawks on the frontal lobe there, trying to keep them on the old brain, kind of trying to keep those Hockey Joneses withdrawals at bay until October 7th when the puck drops finally, actually until mid-September when training camp starts. So we're just trying to scrape up some tidbits, talk about some glory days, talk about some great records, talk about some great players. So we'll fill in the time while we're there, but we're doing it together because we're all Hawks fans. Thank you for being here. So let's get into it. Here's the top four topics of today. First of all, let's take a deep dive on an old favorite of mine. I've mentioned him before from the old Sega Genesis days, Mr. Steve Larmer. Now, he had 9 wonderful seasons with the Hawks. It's his rookie season that really stands the test of time, though. So the Hawks, of course, have had many great rookies who've come in and performed, most notably and most recently Connor Bedard, who won the Calder Trophy back in 23-24. But Larmer was someone who impressed in his first season over 40 years ago in 1982-1983. Larmer won the Calder Trophy as well that season, having only played 7 games across the 2 prior seasons when he only recorded 1 assist. But in his rookie year, he put up 43 goals and 90 points. Now, while there wasn't any indication that he would have that impact right away in the NHL, there were signs that he would be able to produce some big offensive numbers at one point, since his final AHL season consisted of 38 goals and 82 points in 74 games. So, we had an idea. Larmer helped the Blackhawks finish the first in their division, second in the conference, and 4th in the NHL that season. And he didn't slow down for many years. And while he never won a Stanley Cup with the Hawks, despite 9 consecutive appearances and 923 points in the regular season with Chicago, he did win it, of course, after leaving the Hawks that following season with the New York Rangers. Well, all right. Well, good for him, though. I'm glad at least he hoisted the cup. Larmer was a plus 44 in his rookie season with 13 power play goals and 9 game-winning goals. He would only match those 9 game-winning goals one more time in his career. He never crossed 50 goals in the NHL, and he only topped the 43 goals he scored as a rookie 2 more times in his career. He topped 90 points only once, but he also tied it once in his later years. The Calder Trophy was the only individual award that Larmer won in the NHL, but he finished in the top 10 in voting for the Hart Trophy, the Selke Trophy, and the Lady Byng Award. As a rookie, Larmer finished second on the team in goals and points, third in assists, and first in plus-minus. He trailed only Al Secord, who had 54 goals, Denis Savard, who had 86 assists, and Doug Wilson, who had 51 assists, and also Denis Savard with 121 points. I don't think there'll ever be another rookie season, maybe not totally another great season like Larmer put together as a rookie. Very hard to do these days in the NHL, but you know what? I hope that as the Hawks move forward, we keep drafting these great players. I hope there are more impressive ones in the near future for the Hawks. That would be fantastic for us. Now, speaking of another often overlooked former Blackhawk, let's discuss a man we actually just mentioned, Al Secord. Al Secord came over to the Blackhawks very early in his career. He was originally drafted 16th overall by the Boston Bruins in 1978. And then after just 2 full seasons in the NHL, he was traded to the Hawks. He almost immediately broke out and was a major contributor to their sustained success for over 7 seasons. Secord recorded just 3 assists in 18 games for the Bruins the season he got traded, and then he finished the 80-81 season with 13 goals and 21 points in 41 games for Chicago. The following season, at just 23 years old, he put up 44 goals and 75 points in 80 games while recording 303 penalty minutes. I don't know, with that little time on the ice he afforded himself, he was very productive. He finished 15th in the Hart Trophy voting and 13th in Selke Trophy voting. Secord followed that up with 54 goals and 86 points in 80 games the next season and finished 30th in Selke Trophy voting. He was far less healthy in the next 2 seasons, and it impacted his game, unfortunately. He scored 19 goals and 35 points in 69 games between 83 and 85. He bounced back for the 2 seasons after that, though, and posted a 40-goal, 76-point campaign in 85-86. And during his initial time with the Blackhawks, the team made the playoffs every season and lost in the conference finals 3 times. And if you remember, that was in the mid-'80s when the Oilers dynasty was very alive and active. The timing wasn't great, but Secord did a great job as one of the Blackhawks' best players, both ends of the ice. Secord left Chicago in 87 for 2 seasons and then returned to play his final year with the Blackhawks at age 31, scoring 14 goals and 21 points in 44 games. He never won any awards, didn't have too long of a career, but those solid Blackhawks teams had a good player helping them along. So thank you, sir. He's one of those unsung heroes, as we like to say, Mr. Al Secord. And now let's talk about hope. We are talking about a dry off season after a horrid last couple of seasons of the Hawks being down in the basement. Not a lot to be excited about outside Bedard and Nazar. And we got a lot of potential, tons of potential, but just not a lot of excitement to cheer about. But let's remember where we used to be and where we went, because it could happen again. If you remember, the Blackhawks went from the worst team in all professional sports to the dynasty of the decades in 2010s. Back in 2004, ESPN the magazine called the Blackhawks the worst franchise in professional sports, and that was because of poor performance on the ice, poor attendance by the fans, and owner Bill Wirtz refusing to televise home games. And I remember reading that article. There are 121 professional, at least at that time, there were 121 professional teams within North America, and the Hawks were dead last. Wirtz also loathed to play superstars at the going rate, to even try to keep elite players such as Jeremy Roenick, Tony Amonte, remember Tony Amonte, and Eddie Belfour. So instead, they were traded away the previous decade for cheaper, less talented players. The on-ice product suffered as a result. So despite Wirtz, though, running the franchise into the ground, the franchise did have Dale Talon in the front office, and he would help the Blackhawks lay the foundation for a championship run that would net the franchise 3 Stanley Cups by acquiring an impressive group of talent through the draft. The club drafted Duncan Keith in 2002, 54th overall. Imagine that, 54th. Now that feels like such a steal. Brent Seabrook, 14th overall. Corey Crawford, 52nd overall in 2003. Nicholas Jarmelson, 108th overall in 2005. And then the club selected their franchise cornerstone players, Jonathan Taves, 3rd overall in 2006, and Patrick Kane, 1st overall in 2007. Talon also pulled off a shrewd trade in 2005 with the Philadelphia Flyers to land Patrick Sharp. Oh, it's all coming together. And then a turning point came upon Wirtz's death. Unfortunately for the Wirtz family, fortunately, kind of, let's look what happened for us. His son, Rocky Wirtz, immediately, bless his soul, began reshaping the organization. He lifted the TV ban and struck deals with Blackhawks fans to watch the games on WGN and Comcast Sportsnet. He also hired marketing expert John McDonough, who rebranded and changed up the team. McDonough also played a huge role in introducing Chelsea Dagger, we talked about this, as the team's goal celebration song. And for a short while, before Rocky Wirtz's wife nixed it, they brought back the Ice Girls, they brought back Madhouse on Madison. Like, it was a huge party at the old UC. It was awesome, right? So much fun. Also, in 2009, off-season, we signed Marian Osa, and that move eventually put the Hawks over the top. So In the 2008-2009 season, the Blackhawks finished with a record of 46, 24, and 12, and 104 points in the standings. It was the first 100-point season since 1993. So what? That's 15 years. That gap, right? It can be done. They also returned to the playoffs for the first time since 2002. The Young Hawks went on an impressive run, getting all the way to the Western Conference Finals, where they lost to the Red Wings in 5 games. Then their 2009 Western Conference Finals defeat to the Red Wings set the stage, though, for the golden age of Blackhawks hockey. In June 2010, the Hawks ended a 49-year championship drought. They defeated the Philadelphia Flyers in 6 games, with Captain Taves earning the Conn Smythe Trophy for the playoff MVP, and Patrick Kane scoring that friggin' beautiful Stanley Cup winning goal, considered one of the greatest and most iconic goals in Blackhawks history. But that wasn't all the Hawks would do. They would go on to win 2 more Stanley Cups in 2013 and 2015, cementing their status as one of the NHL's greatest modern dynasties. So it can be done. Yeah, it feels terrible right now. We've got a brand new coach, trying to put a lot of hope into him. We've got a bunch of players that seem to have a lot of upside, but they're all unproven. We're going to instill a lot of hope in them. We got Connor Bedard, who's awesome. Not a lot of great, not a lot of people around him to help build him up, but we're building that, right? We got a GM who's, I think, still the youngest in the league. He's only been with us for 3 years, and he's been very methodic and very steady on his approach, and we're putting our trust in him. So I'm just saying these things don't happen overnight, but when they do, it's lightning in a bottle, and it's magic. So I'm just hoping this happens. For the Hawks, it's not going to be overnight, but when it happens, hopefully, it's going to be a lasting, long, successful run for us, which would be something to really have fun with. So let's start it with the 100th season, shall we? And now let's get to our hot takes. And there's only one. And this is from the Mark Dick, and I believe this is a repeat offender, I believe. Hawks will either be the worst team in the league or number 2. They'll be second worst team in the league. What are you thinking? Mark, it's not what I'm thinking. It's what I'm drinking or what I'm smoking. But either way, I don't know, man. The Hawks always have me just hope springs eternal, right? I always believe any team has a chance. So why not? It's our 100th year. Okay. We sucked the last couple of years. We sucked the last couple of years. We haven't really made huge changes, but these players are getting better. They're getting more experience. We've got a couple of new players, pieces to the puzzle. I'm hoping for a better year. And I'm hoping that in 3 years from now, we are really enjoying the fruits of the pain that we're going through now. So hope springs eternal, my friend. Let's keep it going. So that's a wrap for today, Blackhawks Nation. I really appreciate you guys being here. Please keep continuing to tune in every weekday so you can get your daily Blackhawks download, or your Blackhawks Daily download, excuse me. Thank you so much for all your input, your insight. Man, sometimes the comments from you guys, really eye-opening. Just your depth of knowledge is super impressive, and I love sharing that with everyone else as well. So thank you. Keep that coming. And please continue to like and subscribe and share the channel. Let's make this 100th year just a great year for the Hawks, for Chicago, best city in the U.S., best city in the world as far as I'm concerned, and for the best fans, and that's all of us. So let's do it, folks. That does it for today. I'm PJ. I will see you next time on the Blackhawks Daily.